My name is Abdullah. It's spelled Abdullah. I'm a senior in fashion, and we're here to talk about my thesis. The fashion department basically wants us to come up with a 5-look collection. It's basically you could do anything. You're just supposed to have a concept, do the research, do the development, and it's basically taking everything you've learned so far and like trying to do this on your own. So like whether or not you're going to end up being a fashion designer, like you need to understand like the process of actually putting a collection together and putting it on the runway. So initially when I was thinking about my thesis, I had this idea to do a thesis based off like uniform and the significance it has in like Nigeria's history. With my work, I always used it as an opportunity to like ask my parents questions or like find out a little bit more, do my own research about like what life was actually like outside like where I lived, because I was very much in a bubble in the city back home. I went to the New York Public Library because they have a photo archive, and I was doing research for them, but I also used that time to do research for myself. So these two images right here, I'll start with these two, because these are like one of the first two that I found. And this says 2004, Nigeria Life Hausa, Nigeria. And so this is an image of someone who's Hausa. And I never really had an image of somebody who's Hausa outside the Hausa people who lived in Lagos. Those are a different type of people. It's like how you have Italian Americans. They're not Italians, they're Italian Americans. So the Hausa people who live in Lagos, even though they're still very tied to their culture, they have the influence of like living in Lagos, and so they don't necessarily wear this, you know? And I didn't even know this was like a silhouette of someone who was Hausa, and like this is like a traditional like garment and like a turban, and like these like triangle like detailed metal pieces that he has, like he's wearing like chainmail. Like where did that come from, you know? Like I just like to build this story in my head, and like with that story I kind of build silhouettes. So silhouettes are always like a very strong thing for me. So even when I start designing like this building, for instance, like I found this on this Instagram profile that it's called African Brutalism, and it's just a bunch of images of like old African architecture. And when I looked at this, I was like, oh, that kind of looks like the shape of an agbada, like the width of it and like the length of it, and also just like the windows, like the pattern they make. So from this building, you know, I would like sketch out just like silhouettes of like not necessarily clothes or like, but like characters or like figures basically. And like from there, like go, oh, what's missing in this? It's very inspired by these things, but also very far from it in a way that like it's new and it's fresh. I'm not taking these garments and like giving you back these garments. I'm like taking them, like messing with them as much as I can, giving you my impression and my own understanding of them. The first person I see in my clothes are my brothers. When I went home for my brother's wedding, I told him like I wish he could, you know, be in Boston, because I'd want to put you like, you're the person I see in my clothes. He really embodies that concept of like embracing masculinity, battling with his own self-expression and like familial expectations as like being the firstborn of the family. I mean, I don't know if it's probably clear from the thesis, but like black men are the focus of my work right now. And so those are the people I see in my clothing, honestly. So the first one I worked on was this look. I worked on this one first just mainly because it has a ton of embroidery. It came together really well. The fabric I use is like duck canvas, which is supposed to be for like tote bags and like other stuff except clothing, but like it was so sturdy and it had that like shape to it that I really liked. Skirt that I'm working on, this like gathering detail that's like really imitating like the way tunics are tied. That's kind of where the construction is going. I'm just like exploring new things I haven't done, trying my best to like keep close to the designs, the initial designs, but also like use new techniques to like replicate like what I designed in the initial sketches. In terms of the concept behind this look, it's supposed to embody that like feeling of loneliness and like restriction that I want to express in the thesis. So like, it doesn't have any armholes because like there's supposed to be that like level of you can't really do anything if you're in this. On the hood that I'm working on, it's gonna have this like metal pieces, this triangular metal pieces on them. So it's like, it's gonna be fully covered. You're not gonna be able to see who's in it, but like, it's gonna stand out regardless. Other themes that are like kind of implemented are like, you know, the misplacement of like the ties to kind of emphasize that like detail of like Western clothing not really fitting into Nigerian society like properly, but like still being very much a significant part of it for like working class people. My mom was the first person I really showed anything, and she had pretty much the same reaction as everybody I showed anything. She said it in Yoruba, she's like, Asho okunrin lele, like this is men's clothes. And I was like, yeah. And she's like, wow, different, you know, like you guys are different like in the way you approach like men's clothing. And she was like, interesting, you know. Obviously it's touching them the way like I expected it to, you know. It's taking something that's familiar to them, but like twisting it upside down for them, you know. But for me, it's like this isn't really too weird from like the norm, at least my norm, so. So the title I'm going with now is Omo Fulani, and Omo is a Yoruba word. It means child, it means kid, quite simply. And Fulani is just the people. Fulani people are like the northerners in Nigeria. So Omo Fulani is basically Fulani child. It just ties everything together so well for me, you know? Like it's not anything specific, you know, and it's pulling from two different cultures that like I'm being inspired by, so Omo Fulani.